Christina Mern, Safety Service Director, Rob Martin, and then part of our command staff, Captain Justin Hendren, Lieutenant Andrew Welch, and Lieutenant David Hill. We're here today to talk about the critical incident for the officer-involved shooting that happened on Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025, at approximately 13:47 hours, or 1:47 in the afternoon, at 1642 Cherry Lane here in Findlay. It's case number 2025-22823. We realize that this incident only happened just 2 days ago, but the preliminary investigation, the facts of this case as we know it, involving Robert Norton, a 90-year-old white male, and the possibility that this is a completed suicide by cop or an officer. The investigation is being handled by the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation under the direction of Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost. Investigators have been assigned who are offering expertise in state-of-the-art evidence gathering techniques throughout Ohio after crimes are committed or officers are involved in these types of critical incidents. Officers responded to a 911 call for service from a male stating that there's been an active shooting or shots fired inside the residence of 1642 Cherry Lane for the officers to hurry, and then hung up the phone. We had 4 officers on the scene of this incident. The first 2 officers that arrived on scene were checking the area and then approached the front door of this residence. They were confronted at the front door by this residence by a male aiming a black handgun out the front door directly at one of my officers. Both officers in the video, which you'll see here in a little bit, are labeled as Officer 1 and Officer 2. Officer 1 fired at the male suspect holding the firearm. The male suspect was struck multiple times and sustained fatal injuries as a result. Officer 2 also returned fire in protection of Officer 1. The other 2 officers on the scene did not fire their weapons. Officers entered the residence shortly after, checked on the male suspect that was shot, and also checked on anyone else that may have been inside the residence for the reports that people were being shot and or injured. They did not locate anyone else inside of the residence. An officer, Hanco EMS and Findlay Fire Department started life-saving measures on the male suspect after securing the handgun, but he was later transported to Blanchard Valley Hospital by Hanco EMS, where he was pronounced deceased. The black handgun next to the male inside the front door that was recovered was a Daisy Phantom BB gun that resembles a Beretta PX4 real handgun, as you will see soon in the video. This device here is our Axon Body Camera 4. This device is worn by on our officers on our exterior ballistic vests on each officer at chest level to give a good overall view when they're interacting with the public. We have 2 different views shown by Officer 1 and Officer 2 of this incident. I will have Captain Hendren now come up and walk you through the prepared redacted version of this body-worn camera footage.
Good afternoon, everyone. As the chief said, we'll go through and we'll listen to the audio of the 911 call and the redacted version of our body-worn cameras. The first perspective will be from the first officer on scene, Officer 1, and then the second video preceding that will be Officer 2's perspective. Right.
911, what's the address of your emergency? 1642 Cherry Lane, there's been a shooting. Get them out of here quick.
1649 Cherry Lane?
1642.
You said there's been a shooting? Why do you say that?
Hurry.
Why has there been a shooting? Can you tell me what happened? Hello?
Quit. Please quit.
What happened? Who's been shot? They hung up on me.
So here's a timeline of the events. As you can see, our officers arrived 3 minutes after being dispatched. Almost immediately as they approached the house, they encountered a male at the door who was pointing a firearm at them. After firing at the male, the officers took cover and attempted to give the male commands. Once additional officers got on scene, they formed a cover team and approached the house to render aid to the suspect and clear the house.
This one?
As you can see, there's a firearm produced outside the door, pointing directly at the officer.
Oh! Gun, 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 gun! Back up, back up, back up! Watch out, he popped out there. Somebody answered the door with the black handgun. Shots fired.
That's where we're going next. I think it's going to be 1642.
Oh!
That image isn't as clear as the first one, but that's also the gun.
Gun, gun, gun! Back up, back up, back up!
Headquarters, shots fired, shots fired.
Watch out, he popped out there. Somebody answered the door with the black handgun. Shots fired.
That's an image of the BB gun recovered from the scene. The next image you'll show side-by-side comparison with the Beretta PX4, which looks incredibly similar. I'll turn it back over to Chief Mathias.
An autopsy was performed on Thursday at Lucas County Coroner's Office, and those results are pending. Our duty weapons involved were a Glock 45 caliber and also a Glock 9mm. We're currently in the middle of transitioning to Glock 9mm handguns for all sworn personnel. I have 4 officers currently off work with pay on critical incident leave. We will be working with the Ohio BCI investigators with all their requests and for a complete and transparent investigation. There was a total of 7 shots fired by the 2 officers, 4 by one officer and 3 by the other. Neither officer was injured in this incident physically, and no other persons, again, were injured in this incident. Again, all indications known at this time indicate that the suicide by cop or officer incident has occurred with the evidence and other collaborating statements so far in this investigation. The male suspect has made some pretty poor decision that ended up costing his life. We called in and then presented a potentially deadly weapon immediately upon the arrival towards our officers. I have reached out to the family members of the deceased to extend my condolences on behalf of the department for their loss of the life, and they offered us great support in return for the officers affected by this critical incident. I'm proud of these officers and also proud of the rest of the sworn and civilian personnel in which I lead every day here at the Findlay Police Department. We are one of the best departments in Northwest Ohio by far, and it's due to their hard work, dedication, commitment, and these professional men and women that put their lives on the line each and every day. These officers relied on their training and expertise to get them through this tragic event, especially when the use of force continuum and having a person display a deadly weapon within seconds of approaching a resident with no time to de-escalate or do any non-lethal tactics. They will have to work even harder now to get themselves back to work in the near future. Detective Lieutenant Andrew Welch will be in charge of our internal investigation once the investigation is complete with Ohio BCI. I will now turn it over to Mayor Christina Mern, that she has a few words for you before we'll take questions, and we ask one per each media or news outlet. So if you want to think of questions between now and the mayor's comments, you can do so at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you all for taking time to be here today. Obviously, this is a tragic incident that occurred in our community, and I would first like to give my condolences to Mr. Norton's family. We understand this is a very difficult time. I also want to thank our officers for their response and keeping our community safe each and every day. We understand that this is a very difficult situation for them, and we are giving them our best wishes as they continue through this process. I want to take this as an opportunity to just reiterate the resources that are here locally for individuals struggling with mental health issues and suicidal ideations. Obviously, the 988 number, which is available across the state of Ohio, is available 24/7 via text or phone call. In Findlay and across the country are seeing an increase in suicide, and it's a tragic situation. And so if you or someone you know is dealing with mental health issues, please know that you are not alone, and that in Findlay and Hancock County, please reach out, whether it's Family Resource Center, the hospital, or 988. We definitely want to make sure that folks are taken care of. This is a tragic situation that impacts many, and not just the family, not just the officers, but the community as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Does anybody have any questions?
The 911 call that came in about shots fired, do you know who called that in, and did you find any evidence of shots being fired in the area? 'Cause he had a BB gun. So basically, how did he lure cops out there if he wanted to die by suicide by cops?
Yeah, the initial call to dispatch was a 911. It was you heard the dispatcher talk about a different address. It was being mapped to a different address, but it did come from that residence and from what we believe is that victim of that incident. There was no other shots that was heard by residents. There was plenty of residents out in the neighborhood at that time, and there was no unreported shot and or injured in the area. So just the call to get us there to the house.
It sounded like a female's voice, and the victim was a male, so...
We believe it was the elderly male that called it in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's right.
That's my bad.
That's right.
I thought it sounded like a female.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned there were collaborating statements that went with the theory that this was suicide by cop. Can you elaborate on that, please?
I would rather not at this time. It's BCI's investigation, but it was some initial conversation, some with family, but we're working with BCI and don't want to basically interfere with their investigation.
If I could just ask a brief follow-up. So some of the neighbors believe that home was vacant. Had the man been living there? Was he away and came back? Do we know how he got there?
We believe he's been away for a little while. Actually, him and his wife. His wife just passed away in early October, but the resident was vacant for a little while. As far as how long of a time, I'm not aware of the time frame at this point, but it was vacant prior or just earlier than that. Thank you. Yes, sir.
The 4 officers involved in the shooting, obviously they're on administrative leave. Are they going to receive some kind of training or some kind of condolences to be involved in this tragic incident? Because obviously the officers may be traumatized by using the use of force for their firearm.
Yes, this is the first incident that we've had for our agency, and we go through annual training, not just in firearms, but de-escalation and all other types of departmental training, and we work not just with those 4 officers, but with our all sworn and civilian staff for the proper training that's needed, including mental health training, EAP training. We have CISM personnel within staff and within our community, and then also Family Resource Center has reached out for other crisis support, not just for those officers, but for all of our employees. Thank you.
Will the 4 officers on leave be on leave for the duration of the BCI investigation, or?
The 2 officers that did fire shots will be. That'll be a decision to bring them back once the completion of not just the BCI, but also our internal investigation as far as getting them back to the road and the patrol division. The other 2 officers, we're going to be working with them. They were right there when the shots were fired, and we'll be bringing them back in a timely manner, just when the time is right. So, thank you.
Just to clarify, 2 concurrent investigations from your department and then BCI?
Right now, our investigation is basically placed on hold until BCI has completed their investigation, and then we will conduct our internal investigation upon conclusion and their reports of their criminal investigation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also had a clarifying question. Did you say this is the first deadly or fatal police-involved shooting in the department's history?
As far as suicidal, possibly suicide by cop, we did have another fatal shooting, and it happened almost a year ago. Actually, next Tuesday is our 1-year anniversary of that incident, so we've had now 2 fatal shootings here within the city of Findlay. Anybody else? Okay, I appreciate everybody for coming today on that. The link will be uploaded by our IT department, and it'll be available for the public here shortly after this press conference. So again, appreciate you for coming today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, that's right. Nope.
I feel horrible, but and so I was confused. I was like, so basically, you think that was him calling them to lure you guys out? Again, sorry.
Yep.